Okay, so if you're a football fan, you've definitely heard of expected goals, or XG, right? It's all about the quality of a shot. But what about all the stuff that happens before the shot is even taken? Well, that's where this other metric comes in, and today we're breaking it down. It's called expected goals added, or XAG. And honestly, it's a tool that can completely change how you see a player's real contribution to an attack.
And really, it all boils down to this one simple question. Instead of just giving all the credit to the goal scorer or the person who made the final pass, xGA looks at every single action in a possession, every pass, every time a player runs with the ball, every dribble, and it asks, did that thing you just did make a goal more likely? It totally shifts our focus from just the final product to the entire creative process. So, if we're going to get a little technical for a second, this is the textbook definition. Expected goals added is all about putting a number on the value of what a player does when they have the ball. Every time they touch it, a model is basically asking, are we in a better spot to score now or a worse one? It's like a running score of their impact, both good and bad, on their team's chance to score throughout the entire match. But to really get why xGA is such a game changer, you've got to understand the problem it's trying to solve. Why traditional stats like goals and assists, as great as they are, just don't paint the full picture of an attack. And this is where so much of the real game-winning value is hiding. I mean, think about that midfielder who plays a killer pass that cuts through two lines of the defense, or the fullback who bombs forward with the ball and forces the entire opposition to scramble and change their shape. These plays might happen 30 seconds before a shot, but they are absolutely essential. xGA is built to find and reward these hidden moments that lay the groundwork for a goal. All right, so how on earth does this actually work? It might sound super complicated, but the basic idea behind it is actually pretty intuitive. So let's break down the mechanics of how the value of any possession gets calculated. The whole model is built on this one core principle. A computer analyzes literally thousands of matches to figure out the odds of a possession ending in a goal from every single spot on the field. You got the ball by the halfway line? Yeah, the chance of scoring from there is tiny, close to zero. But have the ball in that little pocket of space right at the top of the penalty area? Well, that location has a very, very high value. Okay, to make this real, let's just walk through a quick example. Picture this, an Arsenal player has the ball. He's in a good spot, but not a critical one yet, just outside Tottenham's penalty box. So from right there on the pitch, the model looks at thousands of similar situations and says, okay, the chance of this specific possession ending in a goal is only about 3%. That's our starting point. That's the value of the possession before he does anything else. But then our Arsenal player spots a teammate making a great run. He threads this perfect pass right into that super dangerous central area, and bam! Everything changes. From this new spot, the probability of scoring has shot all the way up to 11%. So the math here is actually really easy. You just take the new probability, that 11%, and subtract the old one, which was 3%. The difference is plus 0.08. That's the expected goals added for that one single pass. And you got to remember, a player does this hundreds of times in a game. Their total xGA is just adding up all those little pluses and minuses from every single touch. Okay, so we know xGA is all about what a player does with the ball. But what does that actually mean? Well, it's usually broken down into three main types of actions that pretty much cover everything you can do when the ball is at your feet. You've got passing value, carrying value, and dribbling value. They're all different skills, right? But they all point to the same thing. Did you move the team closer to scoring? So let's dig into each one a little bit. Now with passing, this isn't about having a 99% pass completion rate. A safe 5-yard pass to the side? That might have zero value, maybe even slightly negative. The passes that get the big rewards are the ones that break things, passes that slice through a defensive line, that switch the play to an open man, or find that runner getting in behind. Those are the passes that create absolute chaos for a defense. Carrying value is so cool because it actually gives credit to players for just running with the ball. When a winger drives at the defense, or a midfielder carries the ball right through the heart of the pitch, they're forcing defenders to make a choice. Do I step to the ball? Do I hold my ground? Either way, that simple act of running forward has created uncertainty and space, and that increases the probability of scoring. And then there's dribbling. Man, a successful one-on-one take-on, it can be one of the most destructive things you can do in a game. The moment you beat your defender, you've instantly created an overload, a numbers-up situation. The entire defensive structure can just fall apart from that one single action. And xGA is designed to see that massive jump in scoring probability.
But here's what's so important to remember. This isn't just about praise. xGA is a two-way street. A player can also rack up negative value. You lose the ball cheaply in your own half? That's negative xGA. You play a lazy pass that gets your teammate in trouble? Yep, negative xGA. It makes it an amazing tool for looking at a player's actual decision-making under pressure.
Okay, so that's the what and the how. But so what? Why does this metric actually matter in the real world? How are pro clubs and scouts and analysts actually using this stuff?
Well, they use it in a bunch of really smart ways. For starters, it helps them uncover that hidden value in players like deep-lying midfielders who don't score a lot but are constantly moving the ball forward effectively. For scouts, it's like a cheat code to spot young players who consistently make good decisions with the ball, a huge sign of future potential. It also helps coaches see if a player is doing the specific job they've been asked to do, and it tells them, hey, this player's numbers are really interesting, let's go watch their tape more closely. Okay, but before we get carried away, we have to talk about the fine print. This is super important. Like any stat, xGA is just a tool. It is not the final word. It's incredibly powerful, but it's not perfect, and you have to use it with some context. So you always have to keep in mind what xGA can't see. Since it only tracks what happens with the ball, it has no idea that a forward just made a brilliant decoy run that pulled the center back out of position. It doesn't see a player's defensive work, how well they press, or how smart their positioning is without the ball. It tells you what they do with the ball, and that's only part of the story. And this is maybe the biggest point of all. A player's job on the field completely changes what a good xGA number even looks like. A defensive midfielder whose main job is to keep things tidy and not lose the ball might have a pretty low xGA, and that's great. It means he's doing his job. You can't compare his numbers to a winger whose entire job is to take risks and try to create chances. Context is everything. So, at the end of the day, what does this all mean? Expected goals added just gives us a much smarter, much deeper way to watch the game. It gets us past just looking at the person who took the shot, and it helps us see and appreciate the players who are the real engines of the attack, the ones whose every decision and action is designed to break down the other team and get one step closer to goal. So, I'll leave you with this question. Next time you're watching a game, try it. Don't just watch the ball. Look for the player who made the pass that started the whole move, or the player who made the run that disorganized the defense. With this new lens, who are you going to spot as the real architect of your team's attack?